Hello students, this is Professor Sean, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use a graphing program like Excel and how to use it to make data tables that you can insert into any type of lab report or electronic notebook. So the first thing is when you open up an Excel program, you'll have what is called a spreadsheet. Now, right now, this spreadsheet's pretty small. I'm going to go down here and increase the size just so it is a little easier for me to see. The other thing is, let's say you're in lab and you have to collect data, and your data is to determine the density of this unknown metal. So you have different pieces that are going to have different masses and different volumes, and based on that, you can determine its density. So it's easy to weigh these on a scale, whether it be an analytical balance, and then to do the volume by displacement. So I'm just going to go into this top cell, and you'll see that I have columns that are in letters, and I have my rows, which are in numbers. And I'm going to go in the first cell, which is A1, and I'm going to type in, let's say, volume. And let's say I'm taking the measurement of volume in milliliters. So I want to make sure to include the unit. Then on the next cell, I'll record the masses that I collected for each piece of that metal. And then under volume, I'll record the different pieces, the different volumes. So let's say this was 4.93 for this piece. This piece had a 2.36. This piece had a 9.50. Okay, so I was using a 10 milliliter graduated cylinder to do that. And then for the masses, I would have the, let's say, 13.999. So this went to the milligram. Maybe the 6.348, and then 24.940. So one of the first things you might notice about my tables is it doesn't really look much of a table. So one of the things I like to do is, for the heading, one of the things I might want to do is make it in bold, okay? And I might want to increase the font size slightly bigger than the data points. Now, one of the first things I notice right off the bat is now I can't actually see the header. It doesn't fit into the cell that it's populated. So I could see that kind of more in the volume cell. So one of the things I can do is I could highlight these two columns, and to increase their size, I can just stretch it out like that. And you can do these individually. You don't have to do both. You can literally just do one at a time if you want. Another thing that you can do is, if you see that it doesn't fit, if you have more than just two columns, you can go to this format key right here. And when you go to this format key, it'll have an auto fit column width. And that will automatically put the width for each column to fit your heading. Now, I don't really like that. I like to kind of increase it where there's a little bit of space. So I'll pretty much do it like that. So that's one way to increase the size of the width of the header. You can just, again, use this cursor, kind of these crosshairs, and elongate it or stretch it however you want it. Or you can use this format cell right here. The other thing is, I might want to center the header. So I go up here, I'm going to center a line both within the height and in the center of the text as well. I might want to make this look more like a data table by actually putting margins or borders on this. So I might want to have borders to increase this to make this look more like a table. I might want to make the data points also be centered as well. So these are a few things to make this look more like a table. Another thing that you can do to make this more look like a table is you could play around with colors. So you could put the color right there for your data points. If you don't like, let's say, the font being now in black, you can change it to white so it stands out a little bit more. And that's one thing you can do for your table. The one thing that I do want to mention for this table is you'll notice that this last point here doesn't go to the hundredths place, which for a 10 mil graduated cylinder it would. So if you want to increase the decimal, you can go here and increase that decimal by doing that. You can increase the decimal for all of them, but again, for your graduated cylinder, if that's not correct, you can decrease it again. You see the same thing here. I can increase the decimal so that I add that 0. So that's how you can make a data table with your points. You can make it look more or less like a data table. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you soon.